Yeah, so I'm going to be talking a little bit about the procedural stuff we're doing in Living Dark and how that kind of works under the hood and what that means for the player as we're playing the game. So it all kind of starts with the people. So all the people in the city have a unique bio that's generated for them. So they have their own, gender that's attached to them, ethnicity, what they do for a job, personality, all the stuff that we track on the fly here. Um, and people are just constantly walking into the scene and walking out, being generated and degenerated, which initially posed a pretty big problem for us because we were tracking so much data. Like we had, 100 people in the scene at all times, and they were constantly walking in and out. So that's like hundreds of people every second. So we had to figure out a way to only save data about the people that we were interested in. So that's where we came up with our the way any character in the game can, through talking to the player or doing missions with the player, they can become what we're calling bonded. So once they reach this level of interaction with the player, they're going to be actually saved into the game and become a proper character in your game. So you can go hang out with them or talk to them whenever you want. We've got a debug menu here that shows the information about the people. So yeah, I can just come on any of these people and scroll through. Each person generates a set of relationships with them. So on demand, we can call on someone's mother, kids, and along with that, yeah, we have the personality. So someone can be have a personality type of a thief or a liar. Basically, the way they act in the game will reflect their personality. So not every person is the exact same as the person next to them, that type of thing. The other huge part of the procedural narrative system is what we call the director. And the director is basically almost like an AI that sits over the whole game, controlling, how difficult the game is, which missions get spawned, which characters it gives to you at any point. And it basically is just constantly tracking what the player does in the game. So we leverage this for our storytelling to make the missions that are created make sense in the narrative and also reflect the player's actual abilities in the game. And along with that, we have our what we're calling the event card system, which basically is every so often the director can play an event in the game, like a card basically. And what that can be is anything from a random mugging that happens on the street with two random characters, all the way through to like a complete story mission or something like that. And these cards can be authored by pretty much anyone on the team because we've created an API that basically is just super simple. You just drag in nodes and it yeah, allows people to create lots of content really quickly. And yeah, that's been pretty useful for us as well. So that's how we're sort of tackling the problem of a procedural narrative, is through the director having complete control over the game and applying the right cards at the right time, pretty much. That's how that works. The way the player interacts with the world when they're playing through these events and that type of thing is through the characters that have events assigned to them. You might go up and talk to someone at a bar because they're beckoning you over or something like that. You walk up to them and we're actually, we have a dialogue system in the engine that our writer uses quite frequently, where he's able to just drag in nodes and all that sort of stuff, and it's very easy. But just recently, actually, we've expanded that to be completely modular, and that allows us to insert personality and narrative elements into an otherwise completely set structure. So we have a certain type of mission. Every time you go through that, before we had the system, it will be exactly the same dialogue each time. But now we're able to insert different dialogue trees based on personality, and yeah, that's working out pretty well. And the way the player completes these missions as well is almost procedural in the sense that there's no set way to complete any of the missions. They basically just have to use the mechanics in the game to solve these puzzles. So you can imagine an example would be a quest where you're supposed to find and assassinate someone, but you don't know who they are. You might know like a first name or something like that. So one of the things you can do is go to, say, the police station and access the police database and do a search on their name, and you might find some more information about them. And yeah, pretty much you just use all the game mechanics to um, find out information about this person and solve the mission. So we're trying to involve a lot of the player-owned decisions. Like they can decide exactly how they want to go about stuff. We try to break the reins like that. So another mechanic in the game that we have is what we're calling meta clipping. So I was talking before about how all the NPCs have all this data attached to them. The data is actually stored inside their bodies, whether that's a chip or something like that. And there's actually means in the game for the player or any other character to extract this information through metaclipping. So it's basically hacking people. And you'd use this for things like if you need to, find out someone's criminal record, find out their medical history, or if you're trying to create an ID, a fake ID or something like that, you might extract their name and their date of birth or something like that and have it look legit. So it's going to be a really useful mechanic for us when we're doing some of the more open-ended missions and things like that, being able to find out information about people without having to talk to them, basically. Just hack them.